The Sprinter Match Sprint is a track cycling event involving between 2 and 4 riders, though it is usually run as a one-on-one match race between opponents who, unlike in the individual pursuit, start next to each other. Racing style. Depending on the size of the velodrome, this event can be from 250 meters to 1,000 meters. Unlike the sprints in athletics, these events do not usually start with riders sprinting from the starting line, and they are not confined to lanes. The early parts of each race will often be highly tactical, with riders pedaling slowly as they carefully jockey for position, often trying to force their opponents up high on the track in an attempt to get the rivals to make the first move. Some even bring the bicycles to a complete stop, balanced upright with both feet still on the pedals and both hands on the handlebars, in an attempt to make the other rider take the lead. Track stands can only be held for a certain time, and it is not permissible to go backwards in a track stand by rocking backwards and forwards, as the judge will be following the track stand from the bottom of the track. The reason for this behavior, as in many track cycling events, is both aerodynamics and tactics. When racing at high speed, the rider who manages to stay just behind their opponent can draft, expending less effort. By riding behind the lead-out rider, the second rider reduces the aerodynamic drag felt. Just before the finish, the trailing rider pulls out of the slipstream, and aided by fresher legs, may be able to overtake the opponent before the line. To prevent this, a leading rider may choose to accelerate quickly before the last lap, hoping to catch their opponent off guard and establish a large enough gap to negate the aerodynamic effect, to keep the speed high enough to prevent their opponent from completing a pass. During the race, the lead-out rider may choose to hug the measurement line on the inside of the track, giving them the shortest path around the track. Likewise, they may choose to hug the sprinter's line to force their opponent to come higher over the top of them. The sprinter's line defines the sprinter's lane. Once the sprint is initiated, riders may not drop into the sprinter's lane across out of the lane, unless they have a clear lead over their opponent. Rules and qualifying. Race format. As defined by UCI rules, the first round of competition used to qualify for the sprint competition is the flying 200 meters time trial. In this round, each rider completes 2 to 3 warm-up laps and then completes the final 200 meters, which is usually just under a lap. The number of riders that qualify for the sprint rounds depends on the competition. In World Cup competitions, 16 riders will advance, and in a World Championship, 24 riders will advance. The top riders are seeded in the following rounds, meaning the fastest qualifier will face the slowest qualifier, and so on. Knockout rounds then proceed, initially on a one-race basis and then on a best-of-3 race format from the quarter-final stage. Riders defeated in the earlier rounds may get a chance to continue in the competition through the repechage races. Great Britain and Germany currently hold 2 of the major titles in this event. Jason Kenny is Olympic men's sprint champion, and Christina Vogel the Olympic women's sprint champion. This is a tactical and skillful race. Variants. Keirin. The Keirin is a variant of the sprint in which a higher number of sprinters compete in a very different format. Riders are paced in the early laps by a Denai motorcycle, which slowly increases the speed of the race from 25 km per hour to about 50 km per hour. It then leaves the track with about 600 to 700 meters remaining. The first rider across the finish line in the high-speed finish is the winner. Team sprint. The team sprint is a short-distance three-man team pursuit held over 3 laps of a velodrome. Like the team pursuit event, 2 teams race against each other, starting on opposite sides of the track, but at the end of the first lap, the leading rider in each team drops out of the race by riding up the banking, leaving the second rider to lead for the second lap. At the end of the second lap, the second rider does the same, leaving the third rider to complete the last lap on his own. In the women's event, teams of 2 compete over a 2-lap distance. Chariot. The chariot is a short, usually 1-lap, race. Depending on track size, between 4 and 8 cyclists start from a standing start and do an all-out sprint for 1 lap. The first rider across the finish line is the winner.